Now on CoastTV News.
Poppy flowers on a parade float in Lewis. How American Legion Post 17 plans to honor fallen soldiers. Summer kicks off, the unofficial start in Rehoboth Beach and along the coast as businesses gear up. Vote for a change. Bethany locals have a decision to make about an upgrade to the town's water system.
The upcoming weather conditions for Memorial Day weekend is looking much brighter and much drier. I'll have the details coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
American Legion Post 17 in Lewis, the ways they're preparing to honor our fallen heroes. Good evening, I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 5. We begin tonight with Memorial Day ceremonies that you can attend this weekend. Memorial Day weekend is here, and while many are ready to stick their umbrellas in the sand and lay on the beach, local organizations like American Legion Post 17 are making sure they honor our fallen soldiers, those known and unknown. Today, they're honoring them on National Poppy Day by handing out poppy flowers made out of paper in hopes of receiving a donation.
Those funds are used then year-long because of these little paper poppies that have a strong story behind them themselves. Then we can help and support the veterans in this community. Our homeless ones, our needy ones, somebody trying to get a fresh start.
The red poppy flower is a symbol of sacrifice of lives in all wars. This is just one of the many ways fallen heroes are being honored this Memorial Day weekend. Tune into CoastTV News at 6 to learn more. While thousands here on Delmarva and millions nationwide gather at cemeteries and monuments across the country this weekend, it's important to draw attention to those who never made it back to America's shores, those whose heroism ended decades ago and overseas. Karen Kafa shows us how there's a big push to bring those stories closer to home.
I'm walking towards the grave of Ellen Ainsworth. She's buried here in Plot C.
The final resting place of U.S. Army 2nd Lieutenant Ellen Ainsworth is far from her hometown of Glenwood City, Wisconsin. But the World War II Army nurse still draws visitors at Cicely Rome American Cemetery.
So as we take this sand and rub this across her name, for a family member, it creates this physical and emotional connection.
Cicely Rome American Cemetery, about 40 miles south of Rome, is one of the cemeteries administered by the American Battle Monuments Commission, which maintains monuments to more than 200,000 of the nation's fallen heroes outside of the United States, including the sites like Paris and Normandy.
They are powerful sites of remembrance that are an incredible place to visit and honor the dead of World War I and World War II. However, our audience is the American people, and many Americans will never get the chance to physically journey to one of our cemeteries.
The American Battle Monuments Commission has now partnered with the Department of Veterans Affairs to bring the stories of these service members closer to home, using the VA's Digital Veterans Legacy Memorial.
These American heroes deserve to be remembered and their stories to be told just as any other veteran or service member.
Launched in 2019, VA Program Officer James LaPaglia says the digital database is intended to make the stories of every U.S. veteran more interactive, more vivid, and more accessible.
We wanted to take the cemetery experience beyond the confines of a gate or a cemetery wall.
With their data, the VA has created online memorial pages for more than 10 million U.S. service members in VA and VA grant-funded cemeteries, Department of Defense cemeteries like Arlington National Cemetery, and other sites like the cemeteries abroad. Family members, friends, and the public can submit photos and mementos to populate each page and share a veteran's story. Like Ainsworth's, which ended in February 1944 in Italy. While her hospital was under attack, she moved her patients to safety and died from her own injuries days later. A story Mark Ireland, superintendent of the Cicely Rome American Cemetery, says still inspires.
That idea of, fighting to the very end, not giving up.
And is just one of many to be honored by generations to come. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Now let's take a look along the coast. With the start of the summer-like season pretty much here, now let's see how people are making their way into the nation's summer capital. And I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. Here's a look on Route 1, and it is packed on the way into town. These were the conditions a little bit before the start of our newscast. A lot of travelers are going to be hitting the road to enjoy the beach this weekend. But remember, take your time. Here on the coast, Memorial Day weekend often does mark the unofficial start to the summer season. That means visitors flocking to the beach and businesses bracing for a busier season. The coffee mill told CoastTV that these next few months are critical for their business. One visitor says she's excited to start her season in the nation's summer capital.
This weekend, we're going to have some good food, hopefully, and looking for a good place to have some crabs. We're going to maybe go out on a friend's boat to Saturday, tomorrow, and then do some shopping, walking around to the local shops and see what they have.
And for those visitors planning to go in the ocean, lifeguards will be back on duty for the season starting tomorrow. And today, our Coast Life crew was on the streets here in Milton to see what people had to say with their plans for the holiday weekend.
Actually going to go to my sister's for a barbecue.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Be with the family and a new baby.
Getting out to the beach. We're about to do some fishing and just relax a little bit.
I'm very excited. It's going to be a lot of family time, barbecuing, and enjoying time off work.
All the great options there. This brings us to our CoastTV poll. We want to know, how are you spending Memorial Day weekend? Let's take a look and see what we've got here. Your results: staying home is still the leader, 69%. 16% saying honor deceased military. 6% saying beach time. Family or trip time, that is 9%. We do have a comment from Bruce. He says he's spending the weekend with family and friends, and that as a veteran, he'll be honoring our veterans and military service members. He adds his home is decorated with patriotic flags. If you haven't voted yet, or if you want to leave a comment like Bruce just did, go to coasttv.com or use the CoastTV mobile app. Now let's go ahead and take a live look outside into the Rehoboth Beach area. Looking like a grand day out there as we check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams.
Right now, we're looking very clear throughout our Laurel vicinity of what's happening. We have cloud cover that's staying a bit on the thick side. As far as plans this weekend, I'm thinking about an impromptu cookout. You know, why not, right? Hey, vegans, we barbecue too, by the way. We're looking at temperatures staying in the lower 60s by 9 o'clock. Now, for your weekend plans for the Memorial Day holiday weekend, Saturday, 70 degrees, mostly sunny and breezy for us. Sunday, 72. And then by Memorial Day, we're looking at 73 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and staying very pleasant. We want to take this opportunity. I want to take the opportunity. Thank you for all the veterans that are in my family, which are numerous, including my daughter, as well as my dad and my various uncles and aunts. Thank you for all of your service, because all of you gave something and some of you gave all. So I thank you for all that you've done for my freedom personally. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. We do appreciate it to all our veterans out there. Some of our viewers might remember this story, but back in January, Bethany Beach announced that some water in the town was showing up brown. Bethany officials said that's a result of the 30-year-old water clarifier that they're stuck with. But tomorrow, people who live in Bethany have an opportunity to change that with a vote. The ballots that people cast will determine if Bethany can take a $3.9 million loan from the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. That money would be needed to complete a new clarifier and other water system upgrades. One Bethany local knows which way he's leaning.
I would vote for it. I want clean water. Everybody wants clean water.
The town says the vote will be held from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the town meeting room. That's inside Town Hall. A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from revoking Harvard University's ability to enroll or keep its international students. The Department of Homeland Security terminated the university's international student clarification. The move barred the school from not only admitting international students, but also ordering current foreign-born students to transfer or lose their legal status. Today's ruling grants a temporary restraining order, allowing students to remain enrolled at the school. President Trump doubling down on tariffs and sending the market tumbling. NBC's Julie Sirkin shows us how this comes as Memorial Day sales open up and retailers say higher prices are on the way.
Americans are getting ready for the unofficial start of summer, a long holiday weekend with big sales and even bigger travel plans, as President Trump threatens more tariffs that could impact your wallet.
It's time that we play the game the way I know how to play the game.
On social media today, Trump saying the European Union is unfair to the U.S. and warning a 50% tariff come June 1st. The harsh words just hours before the U.S. trade team met with its EU counterparts in Belgium.
One of the things that people assume is that Trump here was trying to create some negotiating leverage for his trade team, basically trying to rattle the cage of the Europeans.
But the Polish trade minister suggesting Trump's public statements could be empty threats. The president also taking aim at Apple and its CEO Tim Cook, demanding the company make the iPhone in the U.S. or face a 25% tariff.
The president is trying to bring back precision manufacturing to the U.S.
But moving production to the U.S. isn't so simple. Experts say the cost of making an iPhone here could jack up the price to $3,500. The president showing frustration with Cook, calling him out for not going on his Middle East trip last week, as other tech CEOs did. The two men did meet this week, but the White House not revealing what they discussed. U.S. markets tumbled after Trump's posts.
A lot of investors had thought that the trade war was sort of in the rearview mirror.
And as Americans head into the hot summer months, consumers are feeling the heat of higher costs.
And now with the tariffs, we keep getting these letters from our suppliers that, they keep increasing 5%, 10%.
And the president's latest tariff threats come just after the House passed a massive bill that would fund the president's sweeping agenda. If the Senate passes this bill, it could lead to benefit cuts for millions of Americans, as well as extend those 2017 tax cuts. Meanwhile, big box stores like Walmart raising prices, even as Trump tries to implore retailers to eat the cost of tariffs. In Washington, Julie Sirkin, NBC News.
Coming up, a young seal released back into the sea. What makes this release extra unique for the National Aquarium?
This weekend will be breezy but brighter for Memorial Day weekend festivities.
First, it's Friday, so we've got all the cool things to do this holiday weekend. That's up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
It's a big weekend for beach trips and barbecues, the unofficial start to summer, but don't forget, Memorial Day is also a time to remember those who gave their lives serving our country. Coast TV's Christina DeRobertis shows us meaningful ways to honor them and enjoy a long weekend.
Pay tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice at a few locations this Memorial Day weekend. In Millsboro, a ceremony will be held at the Veterans Cemetery Sunday at 10 a.m. Then on Sunday at 1 p.m., a solemn salute at the Firefighter Memorial on the Ocean City Boardwalk with a wreath laying and flyover. And at 1:30, a Memorial Day ceremony on the Georgetown Circle. It will be led by members of the National Guard. Also happening this weekend, the 10th annual Poseidon Festival returns to Bethany Beach with pirates and mermaids all weekend long, and Zelke's will host its first ever beach ball drop at noon Saturday to ring in the unofficial start to summer. For more details, just visit coasttv.com and click on Cool Things to Do.
This weekend is going to turn out to be absolutely gorgeous as far as the sunshine is concerned. Not quite as warm as you might prefer, but that's okay. The clear skies and the ixnay on the rain day is definitely what we're expecting for the weekend. Yay. All right, so our gutter helmet camera, ocean view. We're at 69 degrees right now. We will begin to drop from the upper 60s to the lower 60s pretty quickly throughout the night, as we'll drop down to 61 degrees as early as 9 o'clock. Temperatures in the 60s in other locations, 68 degrees in Rehoboth Beach, Milton, Redden, Seaford, and we're also at 68 degrees right now in Dagsboro. The winds are becoming a little more active. They're going to become a little more feisty here for the next couple of days as we begin to kind of wrestle with that, because we had small craft advisory actually, and actually had some gale wind warnings that have been issued in some areas as well. So we have to be mindful of that possibility with the winds really accelerating beyond 25 miles per hour, possibly up to even 40. A trough is right now draped across the Delmarva Peninsula, but it's beginning to clear the way, but we have some scattered showers well to our north throughout portions of Pennsylvania. I mention that because it looks ominous and looks a little bit convoluted here, but we're going to mainly stay clear for the most part. There could be a random sprinkle somewhere Saturday, but it's going to be extremely random and not likely. clear for tonight. We drop down to 52 cool feeling degrees. See, Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have sun and clouds, breezy on Saturday, very breezy on Saturday. And then as we go into Memorial Day, actually that Monday, it's looking good. Partly cloudy skies, slightly warmer, slightly milder by then. You see, Saturday through Memorial Day, we're looking at a mixture of sun and clouds, highs in the 60s and 70s. So it's a little bit on the cooler side. Well, see, let's start off with Saturday. 72 Lewis, Georgetown, Millsboro. Looking for winds out of the northwest and 70 degrees in Cambridge. And we anticipate warming to 72 degrees in Ocean City, Snow Hill, Pocomoke City, and in Berlin. Along the coast, breaking it down, look at temperatures 70s to 60s. Along the beach, just a little bit cooler there. But look at these winds. Pay attention to that part. If you're going to the beach, you need to wear your long sleeves because those winds are going to be howling at 20 miles per hour at the very least. Beautiful, but a little deceptive. Saturday evening, we're in the 60s, okay? Sunday, we go throughout 60s, and then we see by Sunday night, the cloud cover begins to get on the increase. Here's those winds for Saturday. Really at about northwest at about 30 miles per hour. Then we start seeing some swirling action happening off the coast. But for Chincoteague, Assateague, we're looking at temperatures hovering in the 70s and in the 60s. Now, as far as Ocean City is concerned, 68, then we drop to 64 degrees. But for the Lewis Beach and the Rehoboth beachgoers, we'll stay at this low 70s in Lewis, but upper 60s for Rehoboth Beach. Taking a look at our precipitation chances, we're looking at it staying relatively increased for us as we go into other areas. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Rain holds off till next Wednesday.
Paul, the youngest seal ever in the National Aquarium's care has successfully been released back into the sea. This is Arcadia. At just a few weeks old, she was stranded in Ocean City and taken to receive care in Baltimore for her injuries back in March. While in care, she recovered, learned how to swim and forage for fish all on her own. On Thursday, she was released at Assateague Island State Park. Coming up, a severe reaction warning why health officials have concerns over patients that stop allergy medication after long-term use. Stay tuned on CoastTV News at 5. To health news, a warning from the Food and Drug Administration: stopping allergy medications could cause a severe reaction. The agency says people have reported experiencing severe itching after they stop taking medications like Zyrtec. The side effect seems to happen to those who quit after long-term use. The FDA is asking manufacturers of the over-the-counter versions to add the new side effect warning to their packaging. Health problems have forced Billy Joel to cancel the remaining dates of his stadium tour. The legendary singer has been diagnosed with a brain disorder which causes hearing, vision, and balance problems. Joel fell on his back during his last show in February, but finished out the set. He announced a break from touring a few weeks after that, but now he will cancel his remaining 17 shows. And coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, Sussex Central takes on Appoquinimink in baseball. That's at 8 p.m. Then catch the final score at 10:30. And coming up, it's prom season for everyone. How one group in Salisbury is giving new meaning to the term senior prom. Stay tuned on CoastTV News at 5. Good music, good food, and good company was the theme at One Salisbury Day Center today. Shady Pines hosted their annual senior prom. Officials say attendees ranged from 16 all the way up into their 60s. The event gives senior citizens and those with medical needs a chance to experience a prom night, something officials say many of them did not have before.
It's mingle and get others with me, dance, and I love that. I've been coming here for a while on Fridays, and I enjoy coming. I enjoy coming here.
A prom king and queen were even crowned at today's event, and family and friends were also invited to get in on the fun.
Take a look at our Laurel. Tyndall's camera view. We're at 67 degrees, thick cloud cover in place, but that will begin to thin out for us later on this evening. Our umbrella winner, by the way, Margaret Delaney of Lewis. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast. We keep your forecast updated on our weather line. Sponsored by the law offices of Brockstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your 10-day forecast. The weekend's looking clear at the very least. A little cool, but still clear and very breezy, so you will need your long sleeves.
Thank you, Paul. And thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 5. For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Inside Edition is next, and we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.